Hi guys, my name's Seb Tudor, I'm the man on the Silver Mountain and welcome back to Paladins. Now, today I wanted to take a look at Ying, because she's been one of the poster children for Paladins since kind of the beginning, even before she was properly dropped into the open beta. And she's a very strong character, she gets picked a lot, but at the same time there are certain things that people don't necessarily know about her, and on top of that, she's one of the characters that I've played a fair amount of, so, because apparently I'm a support main in this game. And so I wanted to take a look at her next today. Now let's take a look through our skills first. We've got Illusory Mirror here, which is a kind of 5-tick little thing, and it's as it says there, it's a continuous beam that has a supposed effective medium range. Now at one point she had a very hard cutoff on her range, and it would look like her effects would go further than she could actually hit. Same with Maldamba, where his little snake spit arcs, and it looks like that from the effect that you might have hit someone, but because they're outside of the hard limit on range, they don't take any damage. And so as a result, there's some they've made that a little better. But again, like the damage is fairly straightforward. As long as you can hit every tick, or at least the majority of them, then you're doing okay. Shatter very much works in conjunction with her illusions here. So let's take a look at the illusions first. Illusions literally just creates a version of Ying that stands there and shoots healing at people, usually one target at a time. And so as a result, that's just fairly straightforward. You place it on the ground and it does its thing. Now, one of the things that does bug me a little bit is that sometimes people will be like, Ying, heal, and it's like, well, firstly, I can't heal directly. The illusions do the healing. They choose their own targets. And that's it. And as much as I believe they changed some of the kind of control, the AI behind the illusions, so that they would pick people who were on lower health, who were within range to target first with healing, they still make their own decisions. So sometimes they make the wrong decisions and they're a bit daft about things, and that's just the way it is, But as a result, then moving on from that, Shatter causes the illusions to charge at people and explode, which I personally don't use very much, because I want to play Ying as a healer, because that's why I'm playing Ying. And so as a result, the times when I use it tend to be when I'm being chased out of an area and I want to try and take someone with me or try and slow someone down. And so as a result, I will shatter my illusions, they'll charge at someone, and hopefully that's enough of a distraction to allow me to get on my way. Dimension Link is a little teleport thing, and it's a kind of get out of jail free card almost, if you can teleport to where one of your illusions were a moment before, just out of range of the enemy. But it's also kind of a positioning skill, and it's a thing that you can use in a lot of different ways with Ying. But one of the things that people don't seem to realize is that if you hold down F instead of just tapping it, you can actually choose where you go, and I'll show you that in a sec when we get into the shooting range. Then we've got her ultimate, which buffs allies, drops a heal over time on all of them, but it also, as they've been buffed, it allows you to travel to those buffs as if those buffs were illusions, which is really helpful if you've overextended and if your team's getting battered, and you can kind of move forward, drop illusions, hit your ult, and then just transfer back to behind the tank somewhere, which works out pretty well. Let's take a look at the loadout I've got. Now, some of these, because of how focused on illusions Ying is and how simple she is in terms of some of her mechanics, at least one of the cards here is more for my just personal feel of the character. But let's get in at this end. So we've got when illusions die to an enemy, the cooldown is reduced by 2 seconds. I find that incredibly useful, because people often try and pick off the illusions first because they don't want them healing. And so as a result, then it just means that I can drop them back down faster, as they get taken out. Illusions last for 3 seconds longer. Now, there are 2 reasons I take this card. Firstly, just longer uptime means that they can heal more over time, but also because I tend to take the legendary card that drops their healing over, like their base healing by 30%. Having them up for a few more seconds allows the kind of makeup of that lost healing. A little bit of extra health for Ying, just again for my kind of wanting that maybe one extra shot or a couple of extra shots from people, just a little bit of leeway, not much, but it was just something that I did there because it felt better to me. Same with the reload speed. I remember when I first played Ying, she seemed to have a lot of time spent reloading, and so you know, the extra reload speed was just like just getting it so that it felt a bit better to me. And there, so with those cards, you know, if something else stands out to you guys, I don't know, like increasing the health of the illusions so that they stay up longer and they don't get taken out as much, or the range at which you can actually place them down, or, you know, if you want to focus more on other skills that you like better, then, you know, absolutely fair enough. But you know, I personally just wanted these to just get the feel of the character better for me. And then this one, again, I use the shatter to kind of extract myself so that the illusions kind of just get in the way. And so with the illusions moving that little bit faster, getting to that target and blowing up a little bit faster, you know, it just means that my escape plan kind of can potentially work better because there's no moments between where they're in transit. And I realise it's not a huge speed boost, but it's a bit to get it going. So let's take a look at the legendary cards. Now the first one that most people take, even though I'm not a big fan, lots of people in this game seems to, you know, and in a lot of games like this, to be fair, they're all about the kills, even if they're playing a support, even if they're playing a tank. You know, that's why we get stuff like Flank Nando or Ruckus trying to run around behind people and blow them away and then getting his ass kicked. You know, it's one of those things, and so as a result, when you have an attack yinging people, you this is the card that usually tends to happen, whether they can actually hit the shots or not, and you know, they'll be kind of running around sending all of their illusions off to go and blow people up instead of sit there for heals for a few seconds and then letting them go. Now this is the one that I usually take, which again, as I said, it drops the healing by 30%, like directly, but it allows the illusions to heal 2 people at a time, which I feel is a reasonable trade-off. But also because I've got that extra duration on how long my illusions are going to stay up, it's going to kind of allow them to make up some of the healing that they've lost through use of this card. And then there's the one that I just don't see any interest, that I don't really have any interest in, because it's if an illusion is killed or expired, then it triggers a shatter explosion dealing 500 damage. Now that's fair enough, but I don't, unless you're actually placing your illusions in the middle of people so that they either take damage very quickly or you shatter them instantly, you know, like throwing them almost as Ying shaped grenades, then, you know, I don't feel this card has as much of an impact for me personally. You know, I've not seen anyone really using that either. But let's take a look at her specifics in the shooting range, because, you know, I'm interested to kind of show you what I mean about traveling between your illusions and the limits on her abilities. So, especially her weapon fire. So let's see.
The strength of the team is each member.
Okay, so here we go. We'll take what I usually use. Okay, so there's the shooting range. So what we'll do is we'll take a look at this range on her mirror first, because remember, she's supposed to be medium range, and she doesn't have any damage drop off, but it is a very hard limit. And it used to be much more like this, so it would be, you know, if she sat at 100, medium range would be maybe just over 50 units. But now we're looking at, what? About 100? About 100 units, which is much more acceptable if she sat on the point or behind a person. So let's drop ourselves an illusion there, and then, you know, she'll run for a bit. Drop one here, but then if we hold, then it comes up with this little arrow thing, and it allows us to, as I said, reposition our illusions. So I could be kind of deep in enemy lines, causing problems and helping out the rest of my team, but then they need more healing, and so I can, well, if it was off cooldown at least. So I'll stick this over here. So I'm over here. There's one illusion who's just exploded. This is not going well. But I'm over here fighting with these people, and then they need a heal, and I move that out, and the illusion pops in and is able to then heal people. Or, as said, I can do that and then shatter and have them go and blow up. So shattering though, let's just drop one and then just let her loose. So you know, she charges at the enemy. She's right in their face and then blows up. If they've already taken a fair amount of damage and from me just shooting at them, and they're coming to get me, then potentially that 500 damage, if I then get in trouble, just gives me a little bit to get away with. But where's Fernando? He's over this way. But let's, so he's going to get shot. We're just going to drop her there, and then she should heal him, but she's not doing a great job. There you go. He's dead. But you know, in having a couple of those doing what, that was about 50 per tick, you know, and doing it for a longer period of time and stuff like that, when he's potentially under less focal fire, it gives a nice bit of kind of all-round healing, especially if you've got another healer on the team, or if you've got tanks that are actually fighting back, unlike Fernando there, who's not even raising his shield. So let's go and jump into a bot match and see how she plays, shall we? Because again, she's a kind of simple hero, but also, as I've said with like Grover before, people see him and they don't necessarily, and even if he's trying to be a healer, you know, they're not looking at him for
select a champion
for healing. They're not getting within range of him for healing. They're not kind of trying to help him out, help him to do his job. And so, you know, it's these videos are as much to try and show people where they can help out their healer or help out their tank, or how they can help each other out. Now here we're running 3 support. Granted, Pip's probably going to run as flank, and so's Genos here.
Oh yeah,
but you know, they've got their healing and they've got their stuff, and then we've got a couple of damage. Like, not a great team, but like, I found that Ying worked really well with Fernando and Ash for a while. Obviously I've got my problems with Fernando, and arguably by extension Ash, but it's like, you know, we've got a lot of kind of to and fro with stuff there, where she works really well when she's able to sit behind a shield, drop her illusions, and just let things run, and then she can try and help out every time her illusions come off cooldown. She can throw another one down, she can make it work. So let's get on with this.
You can do it.
And then I tend to take Cronus, because those illusions, getting those illusions up faster is always helpful. So yeah, let's get into this and see how things go. Also, I'm so glad that they said it might be temporary, but they've removed the third person from the beginning here, because I'm like, I'd much prefer to just get used to the viewpoint that I have to see the combat from, you know, especially if I'm new character, just sat in spawn, seeing how the abilities feel when I'm actually first beginning a match, you know.
3,
so
2, 1.
Away we go. Right, but in theory we've got a fair amount of damage on this team. The only issue will be is if we get just kind of ruffle stomped by them, because they're because Ruckus.
Let's play for real, guys. Enemy double kill.
So we got.
Thanks for the healing. There are many of them.
But they just take the point and. There we go. And now, oh no. Wanted to walk inside. Ah, Ruckus. I don't know where Genos is going. But, yeah, like, again, I feel like the the problem here is that we're too easily pushed off because we're squishy. Like, the entire team.
God dang it, stop
But-
payload!
Did I trick you?
We'll take out Talus there and then
2 kills at the same time.
take her out. Drop another illusion. Because I mean, the thing that I found with Ying is she is squishy. She's, you know, she's not got much in the way of defensive abilities by kind of default, and so, you know, she's relying on either healing or teammates to crowd control people away from her or defend her. You know, she can't even like force healing on herself. Like Genos here, even, you know, he can slap healing on someone else and it heals him back too. You know, depending on what he's doing with himself. But, you know, you've got the
Killing spree.
unfortunate situation with Ying here, who can't even force her illusions to take care of her. So, but again, she's still quite strong once if she's being protected, if she's being defended, and if she can kind of work with people more, then, you know, she's got it. So. But again, people running off chasing kills, which again, it's a bot match. It's fair enough, but at the same time, it's when people end up doing this in. Probably should have altered there. Oh well. Who do we want? We got a Ruckus, but that's not the one causing the problem. So we'll take the anti-heal to stop that Grover from keeping people running.
15 seconds remaining.
Victor, the cart's moving.
Don't give up.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Overtime, hurry your butt up!
Time to heal.
See, now this is what I mean by being pushed. I can try and drop as many illusions as possible and
Enemy
try
double
and
kill.
focus that healer who's causing the problems, but there you go.
Our bond grows stronger.
It's like we can do we can only do so much. Right, I think we'll take the damage reduction first, because you know, we can, as much as we can't direct the healing back on ourselves, we do have 3 healers on the team, and I should be stood near my illusions, so the healing shouldn't be so much of a problem. But the flat damage that we're taking, especially from
Action
Liane,
point spawning in 15 seconds.
that's something that we don't want to really deal with. But 1 for 1, and again,
4,
it's that push.
3,
It's where you've got
2,
aggressive heroes
1.
like Ruckus, or even defensive heroes like Fernando, who can come in and just sit. And when they've got healing support from a strong healer as well, then it just means that the damaging characters can just have a field day.
Did I trick you? Our bond grows stronger.
There we go. No, Grover, you're
2
my...
kills
There we
at
go.
the same time.
Pip's healing me though, which is nice. Actually, there are actually heals going on.
Let the starlight soothe you.
Where's he going? Did he take Victor? He might have taken Victor. At the very least, Victor died. So there's that.
Killing spree. Attack.
There you go.
Thanks for the healing.
So I'll just try and pepper the pathway along with illusions, just so that we've got stuff to run with. Just get pushed along. Out. Where'd she go?
That's
There we go.
5 in a row.
There you go.
Two kills at the same time. Unstoppable.
There you go. The other thing that I quite like is that because it's a beam, it tends to be quite easy to fire through the non-solid objects in the environment.
Time to take charge.
Just because it's fairly straightforward where stuff's gonna go. So there we go. Cool. But yeah, so now we'll take this one and we'll take some more Cronus just to get those illusions staying up as much as possible. But yeah, it's like, as I said, there are a couple of different ways to play Ying, but the one that I play the most and the one that I enjoy the most and the one that
Capture
seems to
point
get
spawning
ignored the
in
most
15
is
seconds.
her actually as healer. And trying to spread that healing around, which again, it's tough to do to one extent or another because you
5,
can't directly
4,
control
3,
or at least prioritize
2,
your
1.
illusions targets. Like I think Ying players, some of the ones that I've seen get the most flack when it comes to, oh, you're not healing. It's like, well, I'm doing as much
Trick you.
as I can, but
Our bond grows stronger.
poor illusion took the bullet for me. Again, that's what illusions are good for.
Help me out.
But yeah, Ying's one of those characters that's always
That's 9 in a row. For some reason, we're
always
counting
just
by odds
nice
only.
to see on a team, but at the same time she tends to be kind of useful, but not always. Like it's like here we're doing okay now. There you
Another
go.
win.
But as you saw at the beginning, where there was no one to really just sit and hold with our illusions and things, it just kind of, we got pushed away, we got kind of mowed down. And that's, I feel, one of the biggest weaknesses that Ying has, where Grover, he's got his constant heal, where Genos or Ceres have their other escape mechanisms. The healing that you have with Ying is so kind of point focused, it's so just placed in the world that then even if you've got your escape ability to kind of move between them, you just you just end up kind of running into a roadblock. And I think this kind of speaks for itself, doesn't it, when we were all healers and all damage, and yeah, the only one of us that got anything was me. But apparently top kill streak as well, most healing and highest objective time with second most eliminations and such like that. So yeah, and then credits wise just kind of demonstrates where we were. Like Genos wasn't too far behind us, even though I don't know where he went, kind of running off in one direction at one point. But it's like Ying, very, very strong, but does need a bit more support than some of the other healers. Like, I've been able to sit up front with Grover time and time again, basically helping a team tank whilst healing. You know, kind of almost off tank, just because he's got a fair amount of health and he's able to continually regenerate himself. and everyone else around him. You know, he's a good kind of person to kind of sit and carry and push with the team. But you know, otherwise there's a kind of odd situation with Ying where she's got a lot of these different abilities that are kind of helpful, but they're all so focused on being up front that when you don't have a tank, when you're able to be pushed around, she's the first one to get pushed around. You know, she's a squishy little pretty elf girl, so it's kind of what you'd expect. But otherwise, guys, thank you very much for watching. Let me know down in the comments who you'd like me to take a look at next, and otherwise I'll see you in the video tomorrow. Take care. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, then please drop us a like, share this video, and subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the video tomorrow. Take care.